Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. Welcome, yeah, blah, blah, blah. It's been a long day, guys. Hi everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the podcast. This week we're talking about, what are we talking about, guys?
Cabaret! That was good.
What a show. What a show, you guys. What a show. My name is Sam. I'm back. I'm not sick anymore, guys.
He's alive.
Yay.
Yeah, last Friday I went to the ER, so I was unable to do our podcast, but we had a bunch of lovelies fill in anyway.
Like me.
My history, you know me, musical person, lots of musical, lots of tech, so I can talk about both sides. Madeline.
I talked last week on Newsies, and just for a recap, I'm a musical theater major, and I've only been in 2 shows, so I'm pretty new to the theater thing. But, yeah.
And my name is Megan. I've been doing theater for quite some time and quite a few shows. I'm a dance minor here. I mostly do musical theater to be like a background dancer or whatnot, but I've played lead or supporting roles throughout my years.
All right.
And I also choreograph shows, so I see a lot of the tech and production side aspect of it too.
She's a choreographer.
Mm-hmm.
That I am.
All right, so history with this show. I saw what was possibly the worst production of this show ever. And then I got to watch a video of one from, I'm not going to say where.
From a source.
From a source.
A secret source.
Secret source. And I'll say that I really
That one was better.
Oh, so much better. Oh my god.
Wait, where was the one that you saw that was bad? Was it in South Dakota?
No.
Oh.
It was over in Iowa. It was.
Oh.
I'm not gonna name the town because
that would narrow it
that
down.
would narrow it down, and then people would go like burn and torch
Yeah.
the place down. I'll leave it in the description. I promise.
I've actually been in this show in 2015. I played Helga, and then I saw the touring Broadway production of it in 2017 in Nebraska.
Oh my god, was that good?
It was amazing.
Did it come here?
It did.
Ah.
My
And
friends
you missed
got
it?
it for me.
Yeah,
for
I
my
wasn't here. I
birthday.
was still back in my home state.
Last year?
Last year?
It was last year. Yeah, my friends got it for me for my 21st.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that.
It was amazing.
I'm real sad now, guys.
Yeah, at the
Oh.
Orpheum.
Sam is real sad.
Wasn't good.
What's-
Having the time of my life, let me tell you.
Okay, I have never seen the show. I read the script, listened to the music, watched some of the secret source video that we had. So yeah.
We're all pretty. We all have our.
We have, good level
Well,
of...
different experiences with
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
Which is cool.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
What's Megan? What's your overall impression of this show? What do you like it? Do you not like it?
I love the progression of the show. I think it starts out, you love everyone, you love the vibe, you love the scene, you want to have fun with all of them. And then before you know it, you realize that things have gotten dark. And I think that kind of represents how the Nazis started to take over. Like, it seemed like it was good and happy and fun, and then things got dark and people went missing, and, people you knew were gone. And this show did a good job of that change from happy to dark without you even realizing it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think at the beginning, you're kind of like, oh, whoa, this is like fun and very risque. And you're like, wow, kind of taken
It's
aback.
hot.
It is,
It's real hot.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half, you're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this took a turn.
Act 2 is basically a whole new show.
Yeah.
It's the same characters, but a brand new life.
Yeah.
Act 1 is just so freaking long.
Yes.
He's got like a
Good, though.
75-25 cut of the show being Act 1 and Act 2. I really like this show, like a lot, but there are things that a director, a cast, and a musical director, and a choreographer have to do in order to make this show really successful.
Absolutely.
Because if they don't do it, or they change things, it can just turn into a shit fest.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can see
that's
happening.
kind of what happened when I that's what happened when I saw the show that I'm talking about in the secluded location that we're not going to talk about.
There are so many things about the show that aren't spelled out for you that you kind of have to pick up because of your already known or knowledge of the history of this time period, or picking up on subtle cues. So if you don't have that communication with the production staff like you were talking about, those cues can go missing and you won't even know the true symbolism of the show.
Right.
Yeah, and those are like the things that make the show
Yeah.
as impactful as it is,
And when, like you guys were saying in the very first act, it's supposed to be very playful and risque and hot and whatnot. And then it takes that really dark shift where everything's really serious and scary and all that kind of stuff. And if you don't have the A, the B isn't as effective. Because
if it was just the second half, this play would just be so depressing.
Be a tragedy.
It would.
Absolutely.
Two ladies would feel like, why or what? I mean, we're already kind of like, why and what, but like,
right, yeah.
but like we would be more like, this is really inappropriate to put in the show. But since it's happy and risque in the first act, it's totally justified to have like two ladies in the first act. Let's move on to the script. How do you guys? There's like 5 versions of this show.
Yes.
Each one of them different and has different hunks of story and different hunks of blah in all of them. Let's talk about the secret video one, which is the same one that we read. What were your guys' thoughts on the writing? Do you think it wrote itself well? Do you think...
I think overall it was fairly well written. I think there are a couple things where it lasted too long. A couple of songs I think needed to be shortened, or we already understood the premise, or just not exist. But there are other things where we already stood the premise of it, and then they keep coming back to it. So
who cares? So what?
So what? What am I talking? Oh, what am I talking about?
Stupid neighbor being all loud and whatnot. Oh, so what?
So
leave him a post-it note.
I left him 3 yesterday.
Oh,
I was torched. Okay. So
anyways,
Madeline, script.
Yes, I agree with that. When I first started reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much German in here. I don't know what's going on. But then, like, you don't even need to understand the German to understand what's going on. So
I think the directing helps in the German part. You can see how stern they are, what kind of conversation they're having with their body language.
Right.
If it's done right, the people have to do their homework of what they're actually saying. But yeah.
As somebody who understands the German language pretty well, actually
really?
took a couple of years of German.
Oh, cool.
So when I saw it and they spoke German, I was like, oh, cool, this is actually really cool. But like I said, the show I saw was horrible. They mispronounced. They butchered every single German line.
Oh no!
Like,
that's where the research comes in handy.
And it's definitely important to make sure that when you do a show that has different languages in it, it's probably best to make sure you are saying things correctly.
Yes, especially if there's someone in the crowd that
knows
that
German
language.
There's probably going to be at least one person,
right,
that comes to your show, and it's worth it to that one person. You're ruining their culture and their heritage if you don't care about how things are said and what they mean.
Ich liebe dich, Fräulein Sally Bowles.
No.
Oh god.
No.
Speaking of Sally Bowles, let's hop to the characters because the script's I think pretty well written. I think it lends itself pretty well. The director doesn't have to do their stupid homework. Characters. Let's start with Cliff. I think Cliff is he's such an American.
Yeah.
He's such a naive American.
Just very vanilla.
He's real vanilla.
Yeah.
He's real vanilla, and it was good to see that shift in him in Act 2 when he went from being really naive to.
He grows a backbone.
He does.
I love that.
I don't like the fact that he hits Sally.
Well, no,
but
I don't like how he had to grow his backbone,
But he grew it anyway, and
he's finding his way to stand up for himself.
Right.
Because in the beginning he's just kind of annoying. Because he's just
kind of a
flimsy. Yeah.
Yeah. Although his past, I have so many questions.
Gay.
With Bobby
Apparently.
and Victor and you remember me, right?
You remember me, right? We spent the night together.
Yeah. So it's just.
Let me touch a lump in your body.
Right. It's just so funny.
Don't
Who
do
is
that.
Cliff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he seems like a very, like, normal person.
Yeah. Okay, so just for my sake, for both of you, for Cliff, 3 words you have to describe as his character as a whole from beginning to end. How would you describe him as a character? Because when I saw him, the kid that I saw play him was like very small. He was scrawny. He was someone who you would picture just got out of high school and is touring the world, like going abroad for a semester, rather than a well-written novelist that just so happens to be passing or stopping by Germany. Because it just I have a very clear idea of what I want Cliff to be, but I am always interested to see what other people's ideas of Cliff is.
The first word that popped into my head was plain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like if I met Cliff on the street, I'd be like, there's another plain Jane.
There's another Cliff Bradshaw.
Oh, you're a writer. That's nice.
Yeah,
you and everyone else
great.
in the world kind of thing. So he doesn't have that one thing that makes him stand out.
What?
Just average.
And I wonder if Cliff had never gone to Germany and just stayed in America, would he ever have to, like, grow a backbone like he did? You know, I don't think he would have ever had to do that.
No, because he still writes to mommy and daddy all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one of the words that I would use is strong. And let me explain that, because
back that up.
when you watch it, you notice that there's a Brit who's Sally Bowles. You see a lot of Germans. And in this show, since it was a musical written for Americans in the 50s or 60s?
I think so.
Not soon after World War II ended.
Yeah, this came out really soon afterwards. It was
like, it
kind
was
of
quick.
taboo.
It was real quick. So you see a lot of these Germans, you see a real cool master of ceremonies. He's a cool guy. He makes fun of everything. So he's the side of Germany that we love. Then we have all the rest of the German characters that aren't Jewish. And then comes your American. When you see this American, at least as somebody who, if I was living post World War II, I would be like, this is the American. He needs to be tough and strong to represent who we are as our country.
Yeah.
Like, I don't love America, but like as a character, I feel like he needs to at least look like he's a strong, hunky man.
Yeah, that's true, because if he wasn't, and if it had come out like right after World War II ended, I feel like people were so like patriotic, you know, that if he wasn't like that, people would just disregard the whole thing.
And if you pose this American guy as a very weak, scrawny, stupid, like not a character that you want to learn about, like you're eager to learn about, then there's really no reason for that character to exist.
Yeah, it makes it really shallow.
So if you know that he's naive, he's a writer, he's starting to fall in love with this girl, but he's also a strong character, you want to look at him and be like, I want to learn more about him and I want to grow with him. And I feel like that's Cliff's biggest thing to me. But I'm someone who saw a very poor production of the show. So.
Well, it's funny you say that, just because the next word I was thinking of was relatable. You know, I feel like overall I'm a pretty average human. Like, oh, I'd love to travel. I'd love to, you know, blog about what I'm doing. Hey, look, so is this character. Like, you know, I wouldn't mind meeting some British boy in Germany. Like, hey, look, he did too. So, like, I don't know. It's just kind of, you can relate to how average his life is, because mine is too. It's like, hey, you want to do that? I want to do that.
And I think even though the MC is like kind of like the narrator person, I think in a way like Cliff is more of the person that you follow along the story with. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's go Sally Bowles next.
Okay.
3 things I think Sally Bowles absolutely needs to be is hot and sexy.
Yes.
Low-key, really smart, playing naive and manipulative, that you can like plainly see that. And I want her character to be someone who you look at on stage being like, she has total control of everything that's happening.
Yes.
Like, if if she doesn't have these 3 things, I don't think Sally Bowles would be a character I would want to be invested in my opinion, because she's just that character. Like, you just want to love and learn everything about this character because of how she acts. She has a very specific way of acting.
Yeah.
Anybody else's thoughts on Sally Bowles?
I agree. I'm still trying to understand her.
Mm-hmm.
I admit, part of me is like, she has everything mapped out. She knows everything of what's happening in her life. But part of me is like, she makes things up as she goes along. I don't know which one it is. I can't tell if she knows what she's doing or if she's faking it till she makes it.
Yeah, if she's like really good on the fly.
Mm-hmm. Right, because she moves in with this boy who just moved in the day before.
Right.
How did you know that was going to happen?
Yeah.
How'd that timing work out?
Yeah.
How can I do that?
Lol.
How can I do
How can I do that?
Teach me your ways. I don't know.
Yeah. And I think her character, compared with Cliff's character, is a very good, like...
It's a very good
balance between each other.
It's like a balance of powers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially in that day and age where it was normal for the man to be strong and independent and running the show, and the woman to be more vanilla, like you had said. So
well, at least in American culture.
They switch. Right.
In European culture, it was kind of flip-flopped everyone in a couple of countries. Yeah. I love Sally's character. I love her so much. But, like, I just gotta make a point. She can't be blonde.
Yeah.
She can't be blonde. I did, like, in the little secret source recording that we saw was, quote, like, the character was blonde. And I saw her and she just...
Didn't sit right.
It didn't sit right. It didn't sit well with me.
We were thinking redhead.
We were thinking like a good redhead. Good dark hair, redhead-esque character.
But not like blazing red.
Not like, that's an orange head.
Yeah.
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 But like a really yummy.
Yummy.
That's the word.
That's the word
That's what
I was
I
looking for,
want.
guys. Do you want to move on to the Master of Ceremonies?
Yes.
This is an existent character who is
I love it.
amazing.
I love it. It's so genius.
It's so smart.
Oh my gosh.
You can literally do whatever you want with this guy.
Yeah.
As a director, you can literally do whatever you want. Dress him in however you want. You just do whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him. I love him so much. This is a dream role. Honestly.
You'd be good at that.
Honestly, it's such a dream role. It's just get on stage, make fun of Nazis, dance with a gorilla.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and that's the thing is like he doesn't really have he does have a character, but he doesn't have a character that he has to stick to, So he literally can do whatever he wants, and he's kind of like the glue for the show, Yeah,
he's the guy that weaves kind of everything together and makes the transition of the Nazis coming into power a little more smooth.
Yeah, and it's not so like, all right, we're done with the hot part of this show. Let's move on to the depressing part, Yeah. He's still, it's like he has one foot in the risque side and then one foot in the depressing Nazi side.
I think something that needs to be said is the very last part of the show with the MC. Where he's saying Auf Wiedersehen, whatever those lines are. Do you think he has to keep up that risqueness, that playfulness, or do you think he needs to be more serious when he's taking off that overcoat to show his concentration stripes?
I like the playful only because you don't know what's happening next. You think it could lead to the next funny number.
Right, because that's what he does. He just
him just stripping into no clothing or something.
Right. You never know. Like, this could be the next Kit Kat Club dance coming in, but then it's not. Yeah.
If it's done really well, it'll punch you in the gut.
Oh, yeah.
It really hurts.
I feel like you could hear it in the theater, people verbally being like,
oh, shit.
Yeah.
That definitely
and that's what you want.
In the production that I was in, you could...
Yeah.
We were all backstage waiting for it, and the amount of times we heard, or, oh my gosh, or,
that gives me goosebumps. It does. I
and
love
the
reactions.
house just goes silent. People are always kind of fidgeting in their seat or coughing or something, but it was dead silent every night.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where you know it's a really scary and sad part of history that happens. So if, like, the fact that this show, Cabaret, the fun, energetic, risque, hot show that you've been watching just turns into something that's so real is just really, really sad.
And also, overall, this is an interesting take on, like, what happened in Germany with the concentration camps and everything. Because usually when you see, like, movies or, like, documentaries done, they're very serious and, like, respectful, which, like, is good.
Should happen.
Right, right. But I think this was very well done, because if you try to do something like this, you could easily go the wrong way and, like be very disrespectful and, like, make a lot of people angry.
Yeah.
But I think it was very tastefully done.
So, a conspiracy theory that I'm going to throw at you guys.
Oh, boy.
I didn't tell you guys before, only because I wanted to get your initial reaction on here. What are your thoughts on if MC actually is a real person? He's in Auschwitz right now, and he's telling his other Jewish friends at the camp the story of his past life.
Oh.
And when he switches and he puts on those clothes at the end, that's actually what
where
he's wearing
he's been
right
the whole
now.
time. Yeah.
Right before he goes in.
Right before he gets the chair.
Or gets,
He was, or what, whatever
your ending is.
Whatever
That's
his death
interesting.
was,
That's really interesting.
I want to watch the show again and, like,
really
have
wanna
that in
watch
my
the show.
head.
Oh my god, now I gotta be honest.
I know.
Mhm.
Wow.
Oh wow, that's...
What are your thoughts?
Oh.
I've only been getting wow out of you. I need other words.
I think it's possible.
I think it's real possible. I would have to rewatch the show again.
Mhm.
I think it's possible and it's a good idea, but I also think it's nice that, I don't know, because then that would make the whole show, like, not really about him, but, like, from only his perspective, And I like how, like, the show, how it is now, it's not just the MC's perspective, and he just, like, pops in and out whenever he wants,
Mhm.
And you kind of get a feeling that it's everyone's story from their side,
Mhm.
Yeah. That's interesting. I've never heard that before. That's really cool.
We had talked about it in our rehearsal process.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did Amy bring?
Yeah. Did she
bring
bring
that
up? We can say first
Okay.
names, because
Okay.
nobody's gonna know
You're right.
exactly who these people are.
I actually don't remember who did. I feel like the cast was just talking about it, and then we brought it up to the
Yeah,
production staff, and they were like, "Yeah, we've heard that too." And then we just
Dang.
kind of
that would be
chatted.
such a good show to just, like, sit and, like.
There's so many ways you can take
Oh
it
yeah.
and have it still be powerful.
You can. There's a bunch of different ways you can take it, and then there's also shit ton of versions of the show. So
Oh, sorry.
yeah, chill,
Yeah.
chill.
Getting really into this.
How about tech? What do you think is necessary for this show to work? Like, technically, do you think there is anything?
There always is. However, I feel that mostly the story tells itself.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell this story without a set, without
I was gonna say that too.
crazy lighting, without anything too
Well, you could even
fancy.
do it without levels, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could.
Yeah. Lighting
It really
is.
adds to it.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked our lighting, how it started out light and it got darker up until the electric chair when the lights came back on.
Yeah.
Because you had adjusted your eyes to being in more darker light.
Mm-hmm.
I think it really, tech always enhances every show, but I think the show is so powerful. You could do it as a stage reading and it could still impact you.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think if a tech designer is thinking of doing this show, he needs to think, especially if he's doing levels, where you can place the MC in really fun locations.
Yeah.
Because what I liked about the performance we watched, that was the secret recording, was in the very beginning when they're after the drum roll and it goes bum 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 bum, and you just see this little guy pop out from the pit and he goes Willkommen. It's like, where did he come from? And then at other places he'll be up the high stage left, or he'll be like just popping out of like center stage, or he'll be
just there.
He'll just pop out of nowhere. And
The most random places.
I think that's something that the MC, especially when this show, since he's like that existent character, is something you can play with, and I think that's really necessary.
I think my favorite hidden spot of his was hidden in plain sight when he was in the kick line.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
When he wore the same costumes and did the same dance. And you honestly couldn't tell until he took his hat off and he did his own separate dance.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know who you're surrounded by. You don't know if the person dancing next to you is a Jew. You know, so...
A Jew or a German.
Right, yeah. You don't know if they're a Nazi or... whatever, so I don't know. I really like the hidden in plain sight and then coming to life there.
Yeah, it's such a cool character. I love him so much. But I think definitely that's something to keep in mind as a tech designer.
And I think it's nice that you can play around with it because that makes a lot of productions so different. You know, when you see one production of Cabaret, the next one you see could be completely different.
I definitely agree with that. That each individual show can be super, super different than one another.
Because a lot of shows, I feel like a lot of shows you can easily just oh, I know exactly what's going to happen at these parts, you know?
But this one is
this one
whoa.
Can have a lot of surprises.
Music.
Love it.
I love it.
Oh.
There are some songs
that are so unnecessary, but, you know, you get
a pineapple for you.
No. From me.
From me.
So what?
So
what?
Yeah.
I think the older couple, if you can call them a couple, they have a lot of stage time, and I understand why, but their songs are so long and so repetitive. I don't know. I'm a fan of variety.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the show is so fast moving that when those songs come, you're it's
just stops. Kind of stops.
It's
the
a
show.
bump in the road. You're okay.
Damn it.
Kind of thrown off the flow.
Yeah.
But okay.
I really just like this show. This show's music. It's just so good. Sally Bowles and her songs are really, really great. The MC has fantastic songs. I kind of wish Cliff had more songs, but also I don't.
Yeah.
I'm kind of indifferent on him and his singing.
Cliff hardly sings.
He has only one song. 2 songs.
Kind of.
Perfectly marvelous girl. Yeah. And then the whatever other one he does. I think it flows really well with the show too. But besides the bump in the roads.
Right.
It's real wonky. Those songs are just real weird.
They are. They seem like they were just put in after. They're we need a little more time. Just put this song in here.
Yeah. We need to make Act 1 as long as possible.
So we're gonna put a couple blank songs in here.
Yeah. Some they're just you don't need them.
Yeah.
They add they don't really add character, but they don't not add character too.
Yeah.
So hard to explain.
I'm super in love with the song I Don't Care Much. I don't know if you guys heard that one.
I don't think I've heard that one actually.
I don't care much, go or stay. I don't care very much either way.
Who sings that?
MC.
Who's he singing to?
He's singing in the background as Cliff is getting beat up and
arguing
with Sally. And it's the perfect soothing melody in the background to all this chaos.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
It's kind of like in the show Bonnie and Clyde when they're doing dun da dun 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 da da when there's a
when they're
shootout.
literally in a shootout.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's really powerful in shows.
It
doing
is.
something like that, having really calming, relaxing music when a bunch of chaos is happening.
Yeah.
And just how soothing it is. I can't get over that. It's so powerful. I felt relaxed as Cliff was getting
beat
beat
shit
up.
out of
Yeah.
He was just getting his his ass beat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
My favorite songs are Don't Tell Mama
Mhm.
and then Life's a Cabaret.
Mhm.
I just love those songs so much.
What do you think about Maybe This Time that Sally sings?
Meh.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it actually.
I like it too.
I think it's
Before
sad.
I saw, because isn't it about like her deciding
Yeah.
to get an abortion?
Yeah. Well, maybe this time he'll stay, is kind of thing.
Yeah, because
Like,
when I
Lady
first
happy, that's what I want to be.
yeah I heard that song before I knew anything about the show, and I was like, oh, like she's like I didn't know the background to it, and the background makes the song completely different from what you think it is.
It's a whole new side of Sally.
It is.
She's so tough and strong, and
this
doesn't
is
show
kind of
her
the part
emotions.
where she like
and yeah,
is thinking out loud
Mhm.
for the first time. Really.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I really like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, I like most of Sally's songs. That one I can
Mm-hmm.
do with or without.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do love Don't Tell Mama.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell mama, don't tell mama,
I like the part at the end where she's like all
If
of
you-
her family's basically here. Her grandma's part of it.
Grandpa's part of it. My uncle's here.
My brother is also a part of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Love it.
love it so much.
And that's her first song, isn't it?
Yes.
Love it.
All right, Miss Choreographer.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of dancing are we supposed to see in this show?
Well, you have the risque part. Obviously, you know, the opening number is huge,
Hot.
Mm-hmm.
hot and steamy, and everyone's on there, and you get a feel for what you think this show is going to be about.
Little do you know.
Yeah, ha, plot twist.
Curveball.
So I honestly, most of the choreography is that steamy side of it. You can, you know, if you want to have movement choreography, you can have, if we're talking like fight choreography too, kind of thing. But different types of movements, and that goes along with choreographers and directors communicating of having all those subtle cues picked up in their movements. You know, like with the gorilla,
Yeah.
those kind of movements in. I don't know. I really like the choreography and the production I did. I felt like it fit the theme. It fit the era. It was steamy without distracting.
Yeah, I think you can do, like, risque definitely needs to be in there, but you can also overdo that. If it's just, like, straight risque the whole time, it takes away from it,
Right.
you know?
That's not the real point of the show.
Right.
And I feel like people like to play that up
Yeah.
just because it is cabaret and it's your time to do something
Right.
fun and sexy and all of that. But
Yeah. And I think when you're not doing risque stuff, I think in the one that we watched, there was a lot of, like, angular stuff, too. Like, you know, like, very straight.
Especially when the cabaret dancers became
Nazis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
was,
huge change was very
Very
cool.
evident.
Yeah, I like that. The lighting
Mm-hmm.
switch in that, too.
That helps, too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think dancing is necessary in this show? Do you think it could be what it is without dancing?
No, I think it needs it. Mostly because I'm biased and I love choreography.
No, I agree with you. I think
Yeah.
this show needs dancing in order to just be what it is.
Yeah, because a lot of the
I mean,
undertone...
it's called cabaret.
Right.
You know,
So,
life
like-
is a cabaret. It's what they're talking about. If you're not showing us what that cabaret is and why you want your life to be a cabaret, then why are we talking about it so much?
Yeah. And I think a lot of the undertone is also, like, carried through that dance, you know? You can kind of, like, see, like, at the beginning it's very risque and fun, and then it gets a little more angular, I guess. I keep saying that word, but I don't know
No, I get
what
what
I'm
you're
trying to say.
saying,
Yeah.
Yeah, different, like, spots of focus for the...
Yeah.
Rather than just flat out to the audience, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think that's more powerful.
Yeah, like, without even... I love how, like, you can use dance to convey things without even saying anything, you know?
I love that.
And it's
Again,
just
I'm
like,
biased, but-
yeah, it's like the whole theme. You can just see it, the theme of the scene, and just the dancers, you know? But...
Such a good show. Such a good show.
Yeah.
I really, really do like it. All right, I think we're getting close to the end here. It's a little shorter of an episode, but that's okay. Let's give our ratings out of 10, starting with Madeline.
I would give it...
You got a 1 being the worst show, you would never
Right.
go see it. 2 to 3 is, it wasn't bad, but I stayed through it. It was bad, but I stayed through it. 4 through 6 was, it was a decent show. 7 through 8 is, that's a pretty damn good show. And then 9 to 10 is the best show I've ever seen to in my life.
Okay. I think I would give it probably an 8. Because it's really good. The script is written really well. It's very... Like, even though it's fun, it's still, like, a pretty serious show, and there's a lot of, like, surprise to it, you know? I think, for me at least, a lot of the shows that I've seen are very, like, there's not a lot of shows that are as, like, risque and serious at the same time as this. So it's kind of, like, not something I'm used to, but it's really well done,
Right.
I think.
I agree with that.
I think I would give it an 8.5 or a 9. A lot of it is because of how it hits me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Being in this cast prior to it, I was very shy, very nervous. I've definitely lived in my shell, but wearing bra, underwear, socks on stage, you have to grow in that confidence, and dancing like that and understanding that your character is not just a sexy dancer. There's hell outside these doors.
And this is the place they come to escape those awful horrors that are outside.
Building into that character, I think, really helped make me stronger. So I have a huge personal attachment to this show. But I still think, whether I was in it or not, the show is very well written. The music keeps you alive, awake, interested. The script really... Well, with a couple of exceptions. But then, those songs make you relate to those characters.
Make you fall in love with those characters a little more.
Yeah. And then, at the ending, you're like, oh, shit.
Oh, she's just being just a Jew-hating butthole.
Yeah. Seeing that, how you think you're in love with someone, and then you find out he's a Jew, and you're like,
I can't be
nah.
with you.
Nah, bye.
Nah, fam. So, I don't know, 8.5 or 11, or 9.
Whoa.
8.5 or 11. Better than the best show I've ever seen.
Yeah. I would give it a strong 7, just because all I have to go on for seeing the show live is that very poor production that I saw.
Fair.
And I don't think I got to see and actually feel the whole of the show.
That makes me sad.
In its entirety of what it can be, and I think that's why I'm only going to give it a 7. But I think if I see a really good production of it, that'll probably be raised to an 8 or an 8.5. Cause
or an 11.
Or an 11.
Just skip 9 and 10.
Depending on how good the show is and how much I love all the characters and the actors and everything, because it is a really good show.
Man, I can't believe you missed it when it came here.
I know, I'm so mad.
It was
life-changing.
life-changing.
I really want to see it. I wanted to see it, guys. Alright, and then for a total of us 3 here, the total for our group rating is a 7.8 out of 10.
Pretty good.
Because life is a cabaret, old chum.
Come to the cabaret.
It's a blast.
Alright, I think that'll conclude this week's episode of the musical podcast. Next week, join us for our talk on Title of Show.
That's actually the title of the show.
That's actually title of show. Title period of period show period.
We need to come up with a fun name for this.
Of the
musical podcast is kind of boring, not gonna lie.
It is real boring. I can't think of anything.
Straight to the point, though.
That's true.
You don't question what it's about. This is
true.
a musical podcast.
If you have any ideas of what to name our podcast, leave it in the comments below.
Sam's show review.
Sam's show review. It's not my show review. Darshins.
Well, that's true, but you're like the MC.
Willkommen, bienvenue. Willkommen. Im Cabaret, au Cabaret, im Cabaret. Meine Damen und Herren, Mesdames et Messieurs, Ladies and
and
gentlemen.
gentlemen. My favorite is when he goes, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay.
She wouldn't be Jewish at all.
Mm.
Right to the heart.
That part hits you really hard too.
We're just like rambling now.
Yeah, we're just rambling. We're just talking about the show.
Yeah.
For however long we want. Oh boy. But yeah, next week see us
Join us
for title of show. And remember everybody,
stay safe out there.
stay safe out there and live long and play on.